And we're live, the Underdog Jets podcast with Wayne Chrebet. We'll let folks trickle in here. 4 minutes late, all my fault. I was doing my running on the treadmill and cut a little close, I'll say that. But if you saw the graphic, the title on YouTube, you see, grounded pound. I mean, it's not going to look like Rex Ryan's offense per se. It's going to be a lot different with Justin Fields, but I'm telling you, Wayne, what do you think about in terms of Aaron Glenn wanting to run the ball in 2025?
Yeah, obviously, if you're going to be a playoff team and play in that weather come playoff time, you need to get used to doing that. And if you're a ground pound team, that means you're winning games and you're not throwing at the end of the game. But who are they talking about, Braylon or Breece having more of a role in that?
That's a good question. There's been speculation. I haven't heard it in big places, but there's been speculation that the Jets aren't opposed to dangling Breece on the trade block.
As soon as you said that, someone wrote, "Do not trade Breece."
It's really, that makes sense.
As soon as you said that, yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen because let me say this. Glenn, Glenn, he wouldn't be opposed to trading anybody, basically. He's that Parcells type. But right. Breece's value is so low right now. You're not going to get what you should get back. I think they're all going to have a role. I think all three guys, like Braylon hits the hole the hardest, so I think he's going to be enamored with Braylon. But if Breece gets over the injuries and gets back to hitting the hole, he's going to be right there, leading the way again. And, dude, they're light at receiver. If they don't go Warren at tight end, Breece is going to catch a lot of balls.
Yeah, how does Warren factor in with the ground and pound? Is a good
he could block.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a big thing there too. You need another tight end on the other side sometimes if they want to go that package. But give the viewers an idea. Do you have a depth chart for the receivers? I'm not sure if
let's do it.
Everybody's seen what we're working with right now.
Definitely let's do it. Let's bring up the old trusty Jets X Factor depth chart here.
Yeah, thinking about it, is Tyler Warren going to be our 1A? I mean, our 1A, 1B with Garrett? Is that the right idea? Instead of drafting a receiver early, using Tyler as the, like I said, receiver 2.
If they go Warren, I could see him being number 2 because, Fields loves throwing it in the middle of the field. Cole Kmet with Chicago had great years with Justin Fields. Right. And that type of offense, RPO, quick one-read stuff, man, Wayne, you're the perfect example. Middle of the field all the time.
Yeah.
That's the type of weapon, dude,
I talked to one person who's a massive Bears fan, and you're just saying, hey, we got your quarterback, and he's just like, be prepared to be frustrated. I'm like, why? He's like, well, he doesn't just take what's there. He doesn't just trust it and get rid of it. I said, well, I said, first question is, who's the Jets quarterback coach and who was it in Chicago? But I said, the fact that, he can tuck it and go 50, 60, 70 yards, that brings excitement that we haven't had in a while. But making the throws on time, you could do that a lot easier than, coaching someone to go 60 yards on a play and score a touchdown. So they can work on that. I think we got a pretty good quarterback coach.
Yeah, so down at the owners' meetings, Aaron Glenn spoke, presser, sitting at the table with everyone, Samini, Costello, Hughes, all of them. And bits and pieces have come out with Glenn saying, listen, we brought him here to play quarterback. He labeled him QB1. I mean, they basically had to promise him QB1 to get him signed because Fields in the past said he wanted to be the starter. He's a quarterback. I get it. But he said he brought him here to play quarterback. So reading the tea leaves, he keeps expounding on that. Like, he's here for a quarterback. He's here for, but I'm sorry, knowing Glenn, knowing the way they're building this offense, it is going to be Baltimore-esque, Philly-esque, where the quarterback's legs and the quarterback's run ability is going to be the utmost priority. And you could see around the league, these offensive coordinators take quarterbacks who aren't great with progressing. Goff was that way, and with McVay, he wasn't great. And then Ben Johnson did a great job. They could scheme open guys. That's what this league has become. You don't have to, if you have legs as a quarterback, you don't have to go through your progressions all the time like the old days.
Yeah. Yeah, you just can read one half of the field, and
Yeah,
you can roll them out, whatnot.
and the
I think
legs.
it went
Yeah.
without saying they invested in, the money into Justin. But to say, obviously, you're coming into camp as a starter, some coaches be like, "Oh, it's an open battle." I'm very comfortable going in with Justin and Tyrod Taylor as the backup, QB3, who'll probably be holding the clipboard anyway. We'll
Hmm.
see in the mini camps in preseason how that works out if Travis comes back or Martinez or whatnot. But is there someone said a chance about going about the kid from Boise State, Genty? I don't think we're looking for a running back at this point early on at all.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed. No Genty and no quarterback.
yeah,
That the Jackson Dart stuff in the top 10 crossed it off officially. Interestingly, Milrow is becoming more uh, intriguing to me because he could be a clone to Fields, basically. Like you'd want that guy who could run a 4.3 or whatever ungodly speed he's running. You
right,
want the backup to be similar to Fields, so that's kind of getting more interesting to me as a day 2 guy at
right.
quarterback.
Yeah, just reading through some of the comments. Yeah, yeah, I think keeping Brees and Braylon over making a move to get Genty's doesn't make much sense. We got proven guys under contract. Connor Long asked about Isaiah Davis. Will he
Yep,
be
he'll
in
be in the
the
mix.
Okay.
He will absolutely be in the mix. I think they're going to use all three, and Glenn mentioned that they're not going to shy away from using all three.
All right, Michael People Jr. He always comments. Appreciate you having in there. So who do we take in number one, a right tackle or tight end? Warren, listen, is the tight end generational? Is there a right tackle that's going to be there? Pro Bowler for 10, 12 years. What's harder to get? What do you need more? I think the weapon in Warren is more important than a top lineman right now. I don't know about the defense guys, but as far as the O line.
Yeah, right now, if I had to guess, I think Membu is going to be the pick, the big right tackle. But it's close between him and Warren.
Right.
So I think it's going to be one of the two, but it's close. And we got a clip here. You want to listen to what Glenn had to say about Fields?
Yeah.
All right. Let's run a test real quick. Can you hear this? Yeah?
No.
No, you didn't. You didn't hear that?
No.
Damn. All right.
Just give
Can't do it.
me the cliff notes.
Okay. I mean, basically, Glenn talking about Fields, believing in his ability and not downplaying the quarterback aspects of his game. And I understand that, but at the same time, he preaches all the stuff that I see a Philly offense, a Baltimore offense, a Jim Harbaugh offense do. When he talks about receivers, someone asks him about a receiver,
Yeah.
Glenn's first thought is blocking every time. And Josh Reynolds, they brought Josh Reynolds in because he's an excellent blocker. So what do you think about that in terms of him bringing up blocking every time receivers asked about?
Yeah, that's good. I mean, they picked their path already. So they get their identity already. You kind of want to have an idea of what it's going to be, so you draft accordingly. You're not going to go in there thinking like, oh, we're not sure. We'll see how it goes with Justin. No, they've decided on it. Now they're going to get the kind of players that fit that system. Alan Zard, I know they're trying to keep him for less money. He'd be smart to do that. I'm not sure we want to. He's a big boy. He's someone you want to run behind. Reynolds, like I said, is a good blocker. Herb Charles got re-signed. Obviously, a great special teamer. He can be in there. Just looking at that, though, I mean, there's
the sharing stopped. My fault.
What's that? Yeah,
the screen sharing stopped. I'll get it back up in a second.
No, I saw it, but
okay.
Yeah. Listen, now they know what they're looking for. I mean, the days of the fullback isn't there. I know I was with Tony Richardson the other day, one of the best fullbacks there was for 15 years. But yeah.
What were you doing? What were you doing with T. Rich?
There was a charity event for one of the people who worked for the Jets. Their son died suddenly of a brain aneurysm.
Oh man.
last year, 2 years ago, and it was just an event at the stadium, for that, and it's tough to go to. It's actually strange because the kid played against Cade in flag football when they're young, so
Man,
to have
yeah.
someone Cade's age, so that was tough. But just seeing him, Marty was there and Klecko and those guys. But yeah, there's no fullbacks like that anymore. But trying to think of
And by the way, Lazard, I really do think they're trying to keep Lazard because
yeah,
again,
sure.
guess what he does? He blocks.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. But now Rucker, but this Stone Smart tight end they got, I'm
Yeah.
not sure how he is at blocking, but he's a pretty good pass receiver. I know they lost
Yeah.
Conklin, but
Yep.
they'll move those guys
Smart's
around.
got some talent.
Okay.
Yeah, 6'4", 226. Not the biggest dude in the world. So, he's more of a pass catcher, vertical threat guy. Ruckert's going to be the dual threat guy where he's blocking and receiving. And if they draft Warren, obviously, they got their guy. Warren could do everything.
I'm looking at you have this depth chart up. I'm like, what backup D tackle is going to lead at fullback? I'm looking at Leonard Taylor the third.
Yeah,
the goal package, short line package, short yard stuff. Like
I need to see Refrigerator Perry right here.
All right, let's go through defense real quick.
Yep.
So this Andre Cisco kid, he's local.
Yes.
He's a pretty good player. He's a pretty
I
good
like
player.
him.
Yeah.
I like him. And he is a classic center fielder, like one high, post safety, ranging from left to right. And if you know Glenn blitzes the hell out of the quarterback. It is going to be, ground and pound, RPO, zone read on offense with Fields doing his thing. And then defense just blitzing the hell out of the quarterback, which is why he went Brandon Stevens, big corner, like Gardner. And there's questions about Brandon Stevens, but Glenn mentioned he likes his physicality, his size. He could press on the edge, and Cisco. So these two guys with Gardner, it fits a blitz heavy scheme. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Talking to Aaron, he wanted to go after free agents, get some lunch pail guys and get some good players in their locker room guys, obviously, and some weapons. But one of the things he wanted to be known for is a team, a management that takes care of the young players, keep them around. He said the re-signing of Jamie Sherwood was the most important thing they did to let guys like, the guys coming up, the Sauces, the Brees, Garrett's, that, hey, we want you here. We'll take care of you when it's time. And, re-signing Sherwood was a big way of showing that. That's something he kind of focused on. But you see numbers on Garrett, would he get with Jamar and Justin Jefferson get? No, but how do you figure out what he's worth compared to them? Because he hasn't had a quarterback really the last,
That's the tough part. Yeah.
There's got to be he can do whatever he wants, but yeah, I mean, if things worked out, obviously I'd want to stay where my college quarterback was.
Yeah, that's the tough part. And you know what's funny? That's a great point by you, what Glenn said. Keeping Sherwood, it sets a precedent to these guys. That's, hey, we want to keep you. And Garrett, listen, I struggle with Garrett at times. I love him. I love his talent. He's frustrated. I get it. Here's an article. Connor in the chat right now. Great job by him writing this news article up. Who was it that was Connor Hughes? 3 league sources told SNY the estimate for Wilson ultimately lands around 25 to 30 million annually right now. So that's what we're looking at if the Jets do indeed extend him this offseason.
Gotcha. Hey, someone said, hey, Wayne, wouldn't AG value the presence of wide receiver Golden since he stretches and threatens the safeties like usual? What is he talking about, wide receiver Golden?
Golden is a kid from Texas.
Okay.
Who...
There's Golden Tate. I'm like, nah, I just saw him on like the Hulu show, the Special Forces Hulu show. I think he's
Yeah, Golden Tate is an old school guy. Golden I think he's climbing in the draft. Someone in the comments who's caught up on it the last week. He's in the top 5 in terms of receivers, in terms of my top 5 easily.
Right.
Might be early second round, probably more mid to late first round. He's going behind Tet McMillan and maybe one or two other guys. But
Gotcha.
he's got serious talent.
Gotcha. You know, it's funny. They're saying, not you. They're saying
Was that your
for
dog
Garrett
talking to you?
Wilson, Amy came home with.
Oh. I thought your dog started learning English or something. What the hell's going on?
No. People are like, oh, you know, Garrett's good for, you know, 90 catches, 1,400 yards, 8 touchdowns. That's, that's a pretty good season. Now, these days with the extra game and all that throwing, that's like, that's a good season. But you get these guys going for 120 catches, 1,800 yards, 15 touchdowns. Because I went back and I was looking at statistics. I don't know who I was talking about, the 98 season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you and Key had over
just how it was. And I was looking back compared to other seasons and how it is now. It's crazy, but in 98, the most catches was 90 by O.J. McDuffie, right?
That is low, man. Yeah.
Frank Sanders was number 2, Marshall Faulk, Rod Smith, and Tover. The crazy thing is, when I'm looking at all the different things, so he had 90 catches, and 165 targets was the most McDuffie had.
Mm. And that was Marino's last year, maybe? That might have been Marino's last year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so he had 90 catches on 165 targets. I had 75 catches on 50 less targets. So I had 50 less catches. Yeah.
So your catch percentage must have been through the roof.
Yeah, so I had 115 thrown, 75 catches.
Here we go. I see who led the league. Antonio Freeman, 14-20. Eric Moulds. Remember him? He was put together, that dude.
Yeah, Keyshawn had 9 more catches, but he had 35 more targets.
Yeah, the way you guys were set up.
Paul Pickens, Jerry Rice, scary.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Jerry played till he was 52, basically.
It's insane. But I'm just
Carl
saying.
Pickens, wow.
Yeah, so 90 catches and Freeman had 1,400 yards. That right now will get you, good contract. But you get these guys that are going to be pushing 2,000 yards every season now with the throwing in. These OCs, man, they coming up with stuff to outsmart these defense coordinators.
Yep, and it's like we just talked about, one read schemes, quick and out, and with the legs that Fields has, that you could get away with that stuff. Like that's what people don't realize yet. Like that, we haven't seen anything yet in terms of the running quarterback. It is just in its infancy. It is scary to think what could be done moving forward. And I bet you this, Wayne, too. The tush push is a big conversation. Some teams want to get it banned. I don't hate the play. I hate the rule. There was no need to change the rule. They changed it in your last year, 2005, where you could start pushing your offensive teammate. Why change it? I don't get it. But I bet you Glenn doesn't want it changed because Fields is a big boy, and that could really be a weapon for them.
Just to get behind him. Yeah. I'm not sure all the different things are looking to change, but overall, has it been a success? I know Muji talked, the GM talked. Anything to look forward to between now and the draft? I know they start with the visits and stuff like that. Any surprises? Anything we can whispers?
Not much. We're kind of in the dead period. Like, it's weird. This owners meetings phase is kind of the dead period between free agency and the draft. We got, when is the draft? 4 weeks from now. So once owners meetings, that lingering effect ends, then we're draft full steam ahead. And I don't listen. Fans don't want to hear this, but this is something to look out for. They only have Garrett. They don't really have a strong receiver too. Don't be surprised if they go into the season that way, based on their type of offense.
Right.
I think they'll draft a guy, but I don't know if it'll be high.
Well, we saw you can get someone that's can play. Maybe you didn't run a 4-2, 4-3, but 4-4, whatever it is, but can run routes, block in the slot, block outside, coming up, all that stuff. So those are easier positions to fill than obviously your starting quarterbacks and stuff like that. This is
there's a lot of receiver depth. So, I'd be surprised if they don't draft one. Like, I think they'll draft one on day 2, day 3, but I don't think it's going to be Ted McMillan. I think it's going to be that right tackle, Bembu or Warren, basically.
Danger Zone said, as opposed to last year, AG and Muji was in lockstep on a variety of topics, unlike the past, when Salah and JD would often contradict each other. That's
where's this one? Where's this comment?
Danger Zone 718 he posted. It just says, it's kind of true. It's like last couple of years, you're like, are they even talking to each other? Does the right hand know what the left hand's doing? But this year, it's a united front. It's just different.
Yes. I'll say this. They started out strong, Douglas and Salah. The leaks were down. It seemed like they were on the same page, but then eventually, you're right. It was the frustration mounted. And at the end, when Salah was asked about personnel, he would always say, that's a question for Douglas. And from a Jets fan perspective, it's refreshing this way around, because even though Muji and Glenn are reporting to Woody, you kind of get the impression Glenn's the boss. He's the final say. And that's personnel and coach. So that's a pretty good thing.
Yeah. So, like you said, that's an important thing. Was Woody speaking at the thing?
Yes.
The meetings? What
yes. Connor, help me out in the comments. I know he said something. It wasn't really controversial. He provided a reason why it's been so bad lately. I still haven't seen the video. That's the one I still haven't seen.
Gotcha.
But it wasn't long. I don't think he spoke for long. He just took a couple questions.
That's good.
Oh, and there was, those NFLPA grades that go out every offseason, and the Jets got a bad grade on something.
They got the bad grade.
Yeah, and I forgot what category it was. I know Connor will put it out in the chat, but Woody defiantly smacked that down. He called it bull crap or something along those lines.
Right. Well, you don't want to be known, your organization as, not one of the top ones. They rated him pretty bad. So I don't know how they judge that, but I know I saw trying to change the culture. I did see that they offered like 170 of the full-time employees like buyout packages.
Yes, that's a new thing. Mm-hmm.
So just trying to change things up, what he's trying to do. People I talk to like been there 15, 20 years. So it's, decision people have to make, but sometimes you have to change things drastically to move forward. I'm sure he's going to change a little bit of everything, try to figure out what works.
Yes. And to their credit, talking to them about the reshuffling, quote unquote, it's a really good deal. Like, I'd be hard pressed to turn it down myself if I was in that position, to be honest.
Gotcha. Well, that, from what I've heard, it's tough. Well, you can turn it down, and then 6 months from now, maybe you're not there anymore. So it's an option people have. But if you have a choice, if you haven't been there that long, you have a choice to go find something else, take a couple months, or be a New York Jet employee. I'd want to stay a New York Jet employee.
Yep. Here we go. Michael Piper Jr. Wayne, did Glenn ask you to come to training camp? I'm sure you'll be there.
Yeah, I went and hung out with him. Met some of the coaches. We were just chopping it up. Had some lunch there. Walked around a little bit. And just said he wanted. He's like, I want you around here as much as possible. Bring the kids, bring the family, come practice. He's like, I just want to be able to lean on you a little bit. He's like, I'm not on the staff, but I've seen what's been going on for the last 20 years while he's been out other places, or last 15 years. And anything I can offer, I don't know what that'll turn into. Maybe something, but just to know, I had never seen the head coach's office before I went and saw him like 2 weeks ago.
That's right. Yes.
I walked in, I'm like, this is pretty nice, impressive. Like, how are you in there? I'm like, you're like my buddy. You're my
how'd you fool them? How'd you fool them into this? What's going on here?
He earned it, man. He earned it.
Yeah.
He went the long route. He doesn't know There's no favoritism there. He earned it. He went from place to place, worked himself up, found a good situation, and ready to take on the challenge.
He went the even longer route by knowing he wanted to coach and then going into scouting first.
Yeah, so
that's even longer.
He's still Dan Campbell's talking about. He's been around Sean Payton and Belichick, and Al Grohe talks to still about defenses and Parcells. He's always out there learning, trying to figure out different things, new things, and definitely a student of the game. But he was that way when he played too, so I didn't expect anything less.
Yeah, got a couple minutes left. Get your last questions in here while you have us. Speaking of Dan Campbell, he offered, and here's Connor Long again, that dude who's on doing his spring break thing. Dan Campbell, Glenn's former head coach, expresses the utmost confidence in Aaron Glenn via Rich Cimini, Rosenblatt. At the NFL meetings, this happened, owners' meetings. Quote, if he can't turn around the Jets, nobody can, unquote.
That's what he said?
That's what he said. What do you think, Wayne?
No, I mean, he's who they brought in. He's the right guy for the job. And something he has that no other candidate will have now or in the immediate future is that he played, a long, long time here in New York. And he knows what it means to win. He knows the pros and cons about coaching and playing in New York. But he also knows what's going to happen if we do start winning. And builds the momentum. Fans get behind it. The media gets behind it. The players get behind it. Everything gets behind it. And then you start rolling a little bit when there's that pull and tug with the fans and the media and stuff like that. It's just noise you don't need.
Yes.
And he expects it. And I'm sure he's going to prepare his players for that before training camp even hits.
Yeah, good point. It works both ways, the New York thing. Like, as rabid as the fans are, it gets worse when it's bad, but it's that much better when it's good.
Yeah.
Here's the other quote as we wrap this puppy up. As long as he's got the support, AG will turn that thing around. He's an unbelievable leader. He's the type of person that makes people want to rally around him, unquote.
Yeah. Listen, you don't have to watch much of him to see the kind of guy he is. You could always say, great guy, great teammate, great family man, but it's more than that. He just has, it's in him. It's in his DA to coach. Yeah. Me, not so much. I coach rec basketball, 30, the last 2 years, won championship last week.
Hey,
but I have my son and his best friend, so it's kind of tough. Kind of got the dream team. But listen, I could tell you back then he was a student of the game and how he studied it and always wanted to watch film on people. And then I saw him scouting, and then I saw how he was. I hadn't seen him in a while on Hard Knocks. Kind of destined to come back and coach the team he was drafted by, first round pick. And like he said, finish the job. So who else is better for that? What do you want? You want a veteran coach? You tell me which one, and then I'll have an argument with you on why that person's not better than Aaron Glenn.
Agreed. Grove Pete will end it on this one. Wayne, I used to watch you every day at Hofstra, so Grove Pete must be a Flying Dutchman. I can only guess, right? Because how else is he going to watch you every day?
That's kind of creepy that he was watching me every day.
He must have been in your dorms, Wayne. What do you think about that?
He was in my classes. I was cheating off of his papers.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
No, listen, the old Hofstra days, people miss us being out there for training camp and all that stuff. And that was the best part about going to school there and being there. How many people I knew and seen and met all those years back there are still around today, still fans of mine. I definitely appreciate it. And like Greg Rollo said, definitely hit the like button, subscribe.
Yeah, I'm terrible with that stuff. Hit the like button, go on Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. Share the video, please. Share this video. Wayne's face has to be everywhere, please.
Yeah.
And then use discount. What's that? Go ahead. Use discount code 80. Discount code 80 at X Factor. Last thing.
Yeah, we don't always ask for that. Plea for us.
We love
amount of likes. Listen, we appreciate you joining in. I always see new names in here, which is great. But listen, we'll have more news next time. Just wanted to get a show in. 30 minutes, 8 seconds, right in the dot. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, we'll do some draft stuff in the coming weeks because only a few more weeks and then we're there.
Take care.
So Wayne, Jets fans, we'll see you next time.